We will now determine the g of x using the given two conditions. We are given the derivative of g of x, that is g prime of x, and this is given as negative 1728 minus of x cube, and we're also given the maximum value of the g of x is 9. So let's see how to find the g of x using these two conditions. So first we find the antiderivative of g prime of x, which gives us g of x. So first we find antiderivative of g prime of x. This is basically the g of x. So let's do that. Let me copy the g prime of x, which is the derivative of g of x, and this is given as negative 1728 minus of x cube. Finding the antiderivative is equal to finding the integral of the given function. So I put integration symbol on both sides along with dx. We know that if you find the integral of a derivative function, we will get the original function. So here we are finding the integral of the derivative of g of x. So we will get g of x. And this side we can split this into two integrals. That is, first I'm splitting this as minus 1728 dx minus of integral of x cube dx. This I do using the sum rule of differentiation. That is, if you have if you have to find the integral of some function, you can find it as integration of sum of the functions. So this is equal to, now I can use the constant multiple rule. This negative 1728 is a constant, so which can be factored out of the integral. So I write down this as minus 1728 integral of dx, and this I write down as it is. We will integrate this in the next step. Now we know that integral of just dx, or it could be considered as 1 dx, is x. So I put this as 1728 times of x is x minus. Now I apply the power rule for integrating x cube. So therefore I have to raise it to the power of x, raise it to the power of the 3 plus 1 divided by 3 plus 1. And then I put the constant of integration, which is plus c. So this is basically the constant of integration c. Now let's get this simplified. This is coming as minus 1728x minus of x power 4 by 4 plus c. So this is basically the g of x function, but we are not yet done. We have to find the value of c, for which we will utilize the second condition. So let's use the second condition. It says that the maximum value of g of x is 9. So this gives an idea that we can find or we can set up the first derivative equal to 0 and determine the point where the function is maximum. We know from the first derivative rules, that is first derivative test, the maximum or the minimum value occurs at critical point. That is, the critical point is, suppose if I have the function f of x, the critical point is the value of x at which its derivative is equal to 0. So for our function g of x, the critical point occurs at g prime of x equal to 0. So basically we set up this equal to 0, and from this we find the value of x, which is nothing but the critical point. So let me do that. So once again I take the g prime of x. This is negative 1728 minus of x cube. I set this equal to 0 according to this rule. So I replace g prime of x equal to 0, and we have to solve for x from this. So this is minus 1728 minus of x cube. Now I can add 1728 on both sides. So this becomes 1728 equal to negative x cube, or If I divide by -1, I get -1728 equal to x cube. We can take the cube root on both sides. So when we take the cube root of -1728, it is equal to -12. So therefore the value of x equal to -12, or otherwise we can say that the critical point of g of x is x equal to -12. Now, using this critical point, we know that the maximum value of g of x is 9. So, I'm going to use this g of x, which we have just found out after integration, and substitute x equal to -12, and also substitute g of x equal to 9. From that, we can determine the value of c. So, let's find it out. So, I just copy the function g of x, that is -1728 x minus of x power 4 by 4 plus c. So from this equation, we have to set up x equal to -12. We have to replace x equal to -12 and g of x equals 9. This is the maximum value of our function at the critical point. So that's why we have to replace g of x equal to 9. So let's do that. So this side it becomes 9 equals -1728 times of -12 minus of -12 raised to the power of 4 divided by 4 plus the constant of integration. So let's simplify this. This is 9 equals, can multiply this, 1728 divided by 12. That is, we have a positive number because we have two negatives. We are getting 20,736 minus -12 raised to the power 4. This will be a positive number because we are raising it to the even power. So we can find 12 power 4 is 20,736 over 4 plus c. So we can simplify this and then we have to find the value of c, and when we do that we get the value of c as -15,543. So we just got the value of c. Now to determine the g of x, we replace the value of c into our g of x. So let me copy the g of x. Therefore g of x equals -1728x minus x power 4 over 4 minus 15, that is 15,543. Let me verify that. -1728x minus x power 4 by 4. In place of c, I'm replacing -15,543. So this is our g of x function.